This is the original minutes of the Kimber Football Club, the 1st of May 1925.
Wow.
So that's...
Is that all?
That's quite old.
That's amazing.
And it goes on to say what year they had numbers put on their back, what year they were allowed to have shorts, what year they had subs. It's quite a very interesting book.
And as kids, that was our second home.
Probably slept there.
Yeah.
On Saturday nights, okay.
Most weeks. Weeks.
Yeah.
Who's in that photograph?
There.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the 1 year I coached. That was, And who would you like to know? They're all written there. Gavin Enright's there. He's gone past us.
Well, there are a few Enrights. There's Peter Enright, Robert Enright.
Yeah, Robert. He played for West Torrens.
Gavin Enright.
Gavin and Robert were brothers, first cousins of mine. Maxine's my wife. Yeah. Marilyn, she's an Enright. Helen, she's an Enright. So yeah, we had a bit of history in the club, you know. And that's Robbie and my wife. Robbie passed away, of course, but he's a life member of Port Adelaide and SANFL.
Well, I gather that the Enright family was one of the constants of Kimber.
Yeah. We were the backbone.
The backbone.
Pretty much, yeah.
And certainly, obviously, a talented backbone too.
Poor old mum, she's got a life member badge on there. That was.
So she was obviously involved.
She was glad.
Everything.
Bar, kitchen, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very important cog in the wheels of the club.
Yeah.
Her and Dad spent hours and hours at the club. She did all the footy jumpers, washed and dried them. Dad was the caretaker cleaner and goal umpire, boundary umpire, you name it, he'd have a go. My grandfather was a stonemason, and he came here and bought any of those old farmhouses you see built out of big stones. He was a stonemason. And of course, the three lads, there was 4 girls, but the 3 lads followed in their footsteps and they became builders with the Besser block, which is now known as the Besser block, and they built all the Besser block. So it was the Enright tradition to build anything that would stand up. Yeah, they were busy all the time. There was always work for them. But unfortunately, the time came and there was a lot of prefab, transportal homes, stuff like that came in, and that's when Dad, he bought the butcher shop, and they still heavily involved with the footy club. They built, the 3 Enright boys built the footy club down here under supervision of working bees, who their job was to make sure the beer was cold and the chops were warm. And that was the tradition of every Sunday after a game of football. We would have the building committee would we would reconvene down at the old club.
Gary was bloody good. Gavin was very good.
My dad, or call him Gordon.
Had some wonderful footballers in the Enright.
Ross, he went to Adelaide, and of course us boys were heavily involved because Mum and Dad were there.
Yep.
So Sunday school to us and to our kids was a few beers at the footy club. That was Sunday school. My daughter, who was 44 or 5, still thinks Sunday school is down at the footy club. So that's where we went on Sunday mornings. And
it was probably a pretty good illustration of the best of human nature, actually.
Well, yeah, we knew we were working for a cause.
Jimmy Cool, here we are. Here's the mob. Here we are.
The law office or the war office
PS
didn't mind because the netball club was hugely involved. All the girls would be there and they'd be making the salad.
Who we got here? Here's the girls. Is that Libby there?
So the working bees were a big family enterprise, you know, it was good. And yeah, all our misspent youth was at the footy club, you know. So
probably like 80% of the town would be involved in the footy in some way or another, at least come down and watch and get around it as a club member.
Kimber with a little bit of momentum here. How will it bounce for him? Ports have done well, he gets it on the boot. Kimber run at it, get it on the boot. Here comes the big bloke. He looks. That's a good kick. He's done well. And he's kicked it. We got that. Woohoo! You'll be seeing that again in the highlights. Yeah, you should be happy with that. Well done, fella.
Before we amalgamated the Kimber districts, it was 4 clubs. It was Kimber, Kelly, Wadiki and Buckleboo.
Oh, of course.
And the only two that called our home ground was Kelly, who had built the
One on stilts.
one on stilts. We called it Ian's Chicken Hut. Looks a bit like the old Ian's Chicken Hut with the...
Augusta.
Yeah. We share an oval. Wadiki have their own club rooms and oval.
Caroloo.
Well, that's Wadiki and Caroloo. Yeah, Caroloo's good. And Buckleboo, of course, the club and the scrub, they've got their own business out there. They tennis, netball, football, cricket. That's all played out of Buckleboo on a rotation. Because when we amalgamated, those clubs relied heavily on just their local input. Like they didn't get any gate money from us people. You know, we never played footy at Wadiki or Buckleboo after we had amalgamated.
Gary says here that they never played, but of course they did for quite a while.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we played there. I played 92, 93, and we played a game there each year, I reckon. At least one, maybe a couple.
So you should, because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's one of the best looking ovals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The club and the scrub.
Club and the scrub.
They should play footy there again.
It would be great. It would be great.
It was all Kimber districts was name of the oval.
So those facilities were doomed, I guess.
Yeah, well, the Kimber district's oval now is called the Corey Enright Oval. So on goes the story. You know, but that's nothing to do with the old club. Although he did play a lot of games with the club.
So there is a long family connection with that oval, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
in fact, nearly 100 years of
yeah,
about 100 years.
According to this, yeah. But that book it's probably treasure to anybody that's related to these people that are in there. I can't read that well, but it's like it's been around for a while.
Can I have a brief?
You can.
Because that is an incredible document. I venerate this sort of stuff. The only other original minutes I've seen is Happy Valley Football Club.
All right.
And that only dates back to not as old as this one anyway.
No, that's
Balance sheet. Had to run the balance sheet.
These photos here, before they had jumpers or Guernseys or numbers,
Right.
dates back to 49.
Where did Kimber have their club room?
Kimber club rooms over the back. We had those bloody old, scrappy old change rooms just north of the pavilion.
Yeah.
And all these...
This is all Kimber? What colours are they?
what they called Rovers and Ramblers.
Right.
And we all, as kids, grew up playing for Rovers and Ramblers. It was played down here on an old dirt oval, gravel oval, and old brush change rooms. And I can name all those people there that have got relatives still live in Kimber.
Brilliant.
Rovers. Wow, there's a bloody mighty team.
Yeah, we said the Ramblers and Rovers. That's the only footy I played at Kimber.
Well, that's what the Enright family.
Oh yeah, but Ramblers 1950. I'll be bugging. There we go.
Pierce, yeah.
And we used to play down on that back paddock. And it was bloody. It was still it was a plough paddock.
God, look at this, Rovers 1950.
Hey?
You were in that Rovers photo just a minute ago.
I wasn't Rover, I was a Rambler.
Pugnacious looking mob there.
You notice that?
Rover
I think
1950.
they were looking for a fight.
Red and black. Mum knitted my jumper.
This shirt. Ian Haskett. There was Ian Haskett in there.
Ian Cant,
Oh yeah.
Robbie Larwood.
Who's N Gearing?
Eh?
Who's new N Gearing? One of must be mums.
No. Yeah, well.
Noel Gearing. What? I don't know.
Premiership team 1953. Wow.
Hydra, Nottle, Wilson.
Jay Haskett.
I've written
Heart and soul.
down a few,
Oh, go on
you
then.
know, family names that were Kimber people, and you know that being a family, real family club back then, and shaped us who we are. You know, Yateses, Rawsons, and all
That's
of
Mark Enright.
Mark Enright.
Wow.
grandparents are life members there, and Noddles and names like Stasnowski, and I remember Peg King always being down the footy club, and you know they were good, really different times. You know, because of the way things are now, you can't drink and drive. You did back then. But,
Hell, we're getting into the history now.
And that just progressed into the seniors, who still didn't have jumpers, or they were allowed to wear shorts then. And I'm not sure when the numbers came in on the back, but it appears as though these here look like they all got the same jumpers, and that's in 51.
So who were Rovers and Ramblers?
Yeah.
Who were they? They were part of Kimber Football Club, or?
No, Rovers, they were just, that was the blue team. We all had blue and gold. And Ramblers was red and black.
Got my first kick, you know, I would have been about that age. I got hold of Noel Gearing's jumper and wouldn't let go, and I got a free.
Had a fella laugh there. It was Oscar Lamble.
Yep.
Only two people can, person can laugh like him. His parents taught him to walk when he was a little fella. He was a bit slow, so his mother took him out and sat him on the cold cement, and he had to get up and walk.
Is that it? That's Oscar.
That was Oscar, yeah.
And he never stopped.
No, he's about 6'3", I suppose.
Yeah.
Never stopped talking or walking.
A few AFL players in there. Some of those.
There's Gary there. Gary
Mayfield. Mayfield played pretty good football.
Brian Clark. There's Brian Clark in there.
Brian Clark, a pretty handy footballer.
Didn't you share the ducks of the class with him or something?
Huh?
You and him used to be in the same class, didn't you?
We did.
Gary Lee, Ian Haskell.
Graham, remember Frankie? He was a pretty handy footballer, Frankie. Binkies loved their football.
Yeah.
So would Rovers and Ramblers play each other each week? Or
Yep.
Every week?
Yep.
Yep.
And it was amazing how many kids went through that system and went on to play senior football, but drifted off the club because this was an outlet for Dad. Dad would come and he'd play football in the afternoon, but meanwhile the boy would play Rovers and Ramblers. I mean, my dad was Guernsey steward then, and by Guernsey steward, it meant that if you got to ride down with him, you got a jumper. And they never had enough jumpers for 40 kids, so the first 20 kids, or 18 kids, got a Guernsey. So me and my two brothers never missed a game, because Dad had the jumpers.
Yeah.
First one in, first one served. You know, so...
They used to. Is that what he's talking about? Talking about cleaning the Guernseys and keeping them up to scratch. These guys did it every week, as I recall.
In fact, can you tell me a bit about Enright connection with Kimber and the Kimber Football Club?
Yeah, well, as I said, my first memory is Jack Enright, his grandfather, who used to help run the Ramblers and Rovers on a Saturday. And as soon as that was finished, I know he used to go down and goal umpire the A grade too. And even Gordon, that's Megsy's father, he would umpire the Ramblers and Rovers and then go and play A grade. So yeah, they had a lot to do with footy here.
Very involved, yeah.
Like they were involved with the kids and the A grade.
Yes.
And even as a kid, I don't know how old I was, I know I wasn't very high, I'd go down after the Colts, the Ramblers and Rovers and try and boundary umpire because they could never get boundary umpires. So I did that for quite a while straight after we played.
Yeah. For a drink and a pasty?
No, used to get 2 shillings.
2 shillings?
2 bob, 20 cents.
Wow.
To run around for an hour and a half, couple of hours.
That was back when 2 bob used to go a bit further.
Oh, it was a lot of money.
But I think the junior footy, we used to play down on the main oval, and then down the back paddock, there was a back paddock, and it used to be a ploughed paddock. And I think it was only up to the age of, say, grade 7, I suppose. Yeah. And where they used to have an old bar, like a square bar, which would be probably the size of this block here, I suppose, or probably half the size of this block. And they used to use it for race days. And we used to go in there and they'd have it just the right bar height. They used to set up the beer kegs inside there on race day. Well, that obviously, when the race day on, that would be our changing rooms.
When we started playing this Ramblers and Rovers was in the mid-40s, and there were 3 or 4 men that organised it every Saturday and ran it. I'll use their Christian names, because if I say Mister, it wouldn't mean anything. There was Mid-Eats, who always used to ring the bell. There was Jack Enright, his grandfather, who always waved the flags. Roy Clements, who's the father of Stuart, who's now 90 years old. He'd be one that was always there encouraging them.
Tell me about your dad.
Yes, he was the one that first started playing football in 1920, farming, come up from Arna Bay after the First World War, and came back, and he started farming there. But of course in those days there was no training, no nothing really.
Well, he probably started with not much too, so and your dad, he was obviously pretty keen.
Oh yeah, he was, yeah. Yes, he was a good footballer. But
you remember the old bell?
Yeah, Dad had the bell in the boot of his car. And he'd get that out Saturdays and ring the bell for him to start, quarter time and whatever. And when they finished.
How long did you do that for?
Hell, a long time. Yeah, I couldn't put a time on it, I don't think. He'd have his car parked down alongside the oval there, and yeah, I always had the bell there.
So he's always stayed in the boot, did it? Of the car?
I think it did. Yeah, I don't ever remember seeing it out of the boot. So.
Just on the bell reminds me when the original club was down there alongside the tennis courts. There's a photo of it up there, but you can't see it. It had no door on it, just had a galvanised, 3 sheets of galvanised iron, so you just walk in. Anyway, we were playing here, and someone forgot the official bell. Anyway, the timekeepers used to sit in front of the club, and I was playing, I think, on half-back flank or something, not far from where the club was, the old club was, and this guy had a stick, and he was running up and down the iron yelling out, "The bell, the bell!" And Collins, the bell, was playing here, and we called out, "The bell, he's down there." And of course, we're yelling out, "The bell, the bell!" And Betsy said, "No, the bloody bell." And Betsy went over and told the ump and said, "Whoa, stop the game, it's time on."
Yeah. And those men Jack Enright used to come down with this case with jumpers in it. Blue and gold jumpers and red and black jumpers, and the Ramblers and Rovers would grab one each, and he'd pack them up and take them home again and bring them down the next week. Yeah.
You didn't play a final or anything, or?
No, the Ramblers and Rovers.
No, there wasn't a final in that.
No, it was just a great game.
You just
and
yep.
An opportunity to learn.
I don't know about you, Oscar, but at the end of the year when I started as little kids, Mid-Eats organised a big dinner in the supper room.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
In the supper room, that was up behind the hall.
Yep.
And all the ladies had put on you'd sit there and you'd have cakes and sandwiches and an ice cream and a cool drink. And that was the end of the Ramblers and Rovers.
Yes, yeah. So there wasn't a final.
No grand final as such.
A social occasion.
Yeah.
Well, it was just an opportunity for the kids to learn to play football, you know.
Which is terrific.
Yeah.
Gets it on the boot. Yep, comes round, gets himself some space, looks, puts it in the right spot. The lad goes for a run. He wants another one. He thinks, yep. Hungry for highlights, this lad.
That one is the 53 Premiership team. That's just a letter. At the moment, there's only 4 of us alive out of that team. All the names.
Where are you?
Oh, in there somewhere. Here.
How old were you in 1953?
Oh, about, what did I work it out? Oh, 16.
Whereabouts did you play that day?
That's 59.
Probably on the wing or forward pocket or somewhere, just as a kid, because like Kev and I were two of the youngest ones in it.
Mm-hmm. That'd be right.
Who'd you play against?
Wadiki. And the scores, oh, yeah, 5-11, 10-10 to 5-11. Very windy conditions. Wadiki added 1 goal, 9 behinds in the final quarter.
Good grief, that would have been so frustrating.
Yeah, so we were 10-10, they were 5-11.
And who was playing in new colours?
Wadiki, apparently.
Wadiki, yeah, they had red and black, and then they might have changed. No, that's a striped jumper, so...
So you're right, so it must have been red and black up until 53.
Yeah.
So Wadiki were pretty
they had
powerful club.
13 premierships in 15 years or 16 years or something like that. A hell of a more record than what Port Adelaide had at one stage.
So they were the club for
a long time, yes.
Yeah, because Wadiki, they won a lot in the 50s.
Oh, they did, yeah, in the late 40s when they first joined Kimber.
Well, when they came in, they were, because pre-war they were the Caroloo Association. Then after the war, they came in as Wadiki, even though they played at Caroloo, of course, because that was basically the association, of course. What was he like as a footballer, Colin?
Oh, he was a good footballer.
Where did he play?
I don't know.
Centre forward.
Oh, I played every position on the field, even,
yeah, but there was one
even ruck one day.
I remember Peter. I remember particularly Peter Guide and I used to play in the back pocket and young player, and one of the things that really pissed me off was he'd run and grab you by the hand and hold you back, and he'd get a free for hanging on. Anyway, I soon woke up to that, so when he was hanging on to me, I'd knee him in the thigh, and up at the end of him.
What positions did you gentlemen all play? Now I know we've already mentioned a couple of them once, but just for the record, can we go around the circuit? Just tell us. Well, you guys tell me what the others played, starting with Jim.
Oh, well, what position you played?
Sorry, yeah, okay. No, I was mainly centre, wing, or rover. I did play centre half forward a bit.
Well, you would have been more centre, wouldn't you? Yeah, Jim was very, very quick, and he still is very quick on his feet.
No, I played centre half back most of the time, and then like before that, back flank and back pocket, but always in the back line. Nearly always.
Yeah, well, I don't remember Brian or Lance playing, but certainly Jim and Brendan and Danny come in while I was still playing. But I seem to remember Brendan was a pretty aggressive bloke coming out the back lines, and if he was coming through, that's where he went.
Straight through.
Yeah. Danny? Yes. Wake up.
Danny Horgan.
Tell me about Danny Horgan.
Oh, Danny Horgan was a legend of coaching more than anything. He just he took all the juniors on from, I don't know exactly what year it would have been, but it would have been 80s. I remember him coaching my brothers more than me, but he was just a great mentor of kids. Just made them all feel like they could achieve, and it just made it fun for them. He made it enjoyable, and just a good human being. Great bloke to have a chat to.
Great,
yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
When did you come here, Danny? For 12 months?
Yeah.
Been here ever since?
Lance, you were on the back line most of the time?
Most of the time I started off on the back pocket for a couple of years, I think, and then I went to centre for about 3 years. Then ruck rovered for a little bit, and then finished up on the half-back flank for about probably 10 years or more. Yeah. I played in 46. One match.
How old were you?
3 matches, 14.
He's 90 now.
91.
91, sorry.
91 he's got.
Wrong. 91 he is.
So how did your first game go?
Well, I just filled in for somebody. Somebody turned up too late. That's how I come to get the match. when I was 14.
Whereabouts was it?
On the oval at by the side, Buckerby Silos.
Oh, so there was an older oval?
All over there in the scrub.
Tell me about that.
And 1950 was the last match we played over there, and then they moved over to here.
He was a tough man. He did a lot of hard work, and a good, reliable back flanker, I suppose it would have been, were you?
Yeah, that's where I played most of it.
Yeah. I played every position on the field. If they needed someone, they shoved me in it. And I didn't always succeed.
That's multi-skilled.
We sort of forget about a lot of the players. Just come to mind Barry Ryan, about this high, but hell, he could play football.
He was the third one in that Wadiki team.
Was he?
Well, he had Wilmot,
Kenny.
And Dennis Kenny. The three of them.
Yep.
And they're all unbeatable.
And and if you tried an old Dudes McDonald, he'd have these ways, he'd put his finger like that, and that's where you're going to tap it. And either be like that or like that. And of course he was tall enough, like he's 6'2" or 3", and plus a good leap, good reach. And of course those guys that get it and away they go, and of course you're supposed to be stopping them. And of course when there's two of them, and they swap around, and there's three, didn't matter, you never had a spell because they were all equally as good, those three.
Well, did you ever play against with Barry here? He played for Buckleboo.
I don't think we would have played with him,
no.
No, you wouldn't be playing them, would you? I don't think.
No.
Did you remember him playing here?
Yeah.
Who was he working for then?
Working for Wolford's up here.
Yeah, well, I suppose his twin sister was married Brian Wolford.
That's right, yeah.
And so, so he probably was with Wolford.
Yeah.
Very, very clever football.
Very clever. Very small and very clever.
Wadiki, like those three. Who was the other ruck? Well, did dude ruck all the time? I reckon he might have.
They were all small and all clever.
Ken Joyce. No, Fat Joyce used to ruck with.
Gordon Joyce is a taller one.
Cliffy Workman in our era was rucked a bit.
Yeah, and also Gordon Joyce. I remember Fat Joyce playing there with the big shoulders too. He was like a flying brick.
No, I used to, when I was in the back line a bit, I had the worst bloody player I ever stood with, Arnold Stringer.
Yeah.
He was the most dirtiest bastard you could ever find.
Talked about the seals before. One of the most interesting ones was John Seal. I played a lot of forward pocket, and he was always back pocket. And his elbow would be into, oh sorry, and then he'd tread on your toe, oh sorry, he'd say, and he's forever at you. Yeah. But he was a good player.
He'd stick right on you.
Yeah.
Marty was an extremely strong player too.
Yeah, different altogether type of player than what.
Physically strong. I remember have as a neighbour, and of course when I started farming over there in my 20s, I still had a fair bit of my strength. I remember going down there to help him load a stock crate, or take it off the truck and put it in the shed. Anyway, I might as well just hung on it and just swung my legs because he did all the pushing, and then the rail that sliding for a shed, a cyclone shed, it jammed on that. And of course I said to him, stop, we'll leave it. No, he's all right, go with another big whoomper. And of course he popped the whole track out and that spewed out on the floor. Like he had wrists twice as wide as mine. I got thin wrists, but he was extremely powerful in football. He's really strong, he just pushed you out of the way. And he was pretty skillful as well, like he was a good mark and whatever did. And of course when you're a younger person, those guys with big bodies who just bump you out of the way.
Well, remember, like you were talking about Max, but Leo Schaefer, he was a very, very strong man.
Yeah.
And I remember he coming home one day, and I dropped a bag of super on the ground. He said, "Oh, do you want that on the truck?" I said, "Oh, if you don't mind." He just bent over, hand each end of these sloppy super bags up like that, and bang there.
180 pounds or whatever they were. 187, yeah, 187.
Yeah, a very strong man, but yeah.
Probably not quite as strong as his father. He used to pick up a 44-gallon drum and lift it up and take it around the other side and put it on.
Well, Arthur could do that, could he?
Oh, Arthur could do that.
Arthur Schaefer.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Jim Ryder could too.
Yeah, he's another one, and Max Hitch.
Yeah, Max was a strong man.
And the other fella, that, what's his name? He used to have a carry-on business out here at Buckaboo.
Clarkey.
Clarkey. He was just as strong.
Yeah.
Brendan was just saying before, there's been no mention of Colin Stootley and Barry Pascoe, who played for Kelly in the 64, I reckon they were playing.
Yeah.
Good play, please tell.
Barry went on to play in
St Kilda.
St Kilda, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know he played AFL.
Joe Atkinson, who Lance would have played a lot of football, and Brian too, and he played when we were playing too, but he was a fairly rugged fella, not very tall, and he got put into the ruck against Barry Pascoe and Kimber there one day, and Barry was he used to tease you a bit, and they're lining up for the first
Smart
man.
ass.
Yeah, smart fella, and he looked at Joe Atkinson and he said, "I bet you wish you were 6 inches taller, Joe." And Joe just said, "I just wish I was 10 years younger."
Yeah. James or Brian Wolford was in my league, and James was his son, and he and Peter Wolford, their brothers, they were very, very good footballers. There's old Vic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a big bloke.
He was, yeah. Very clever footballer, though. But old Vic Ozzie, I've seen him here running into the goals. He'd just throw the ball on his boot like an arrow, just spinning. It's really, really good to watch.
Yeah. And then, she'd get the ball. And in one particular match we played Kimber out there, and they had it worked out. They were going to stop this Oswood, the back line. Anyway, he finished up with 19 goals. And he said, "I'd got 20 if only the bloody two posts were lined up there." Jammed them between the posts.
Did any of you remember place kicks?
Oh yeah, but don't know that ever saw it on the field. My father used to teach me how to do it.
Yeah.
He played a lot of footy down Nana Bay.
Yeah, I reckon my earliest times I saw one person doing it. I don't know who it was now, but he'd line it up, getting the dirt right, and because it wasn't hard to get dirt to make a bit of a mound and then stand back and kick it like they do for rugby league.
Yeah.
That was in the old handbooks, you know, the schools of football.
Yeah.
This is old Vic, it's sitting in here.
Right.
His farm was just up
just
the road there.
back the road a bit.
He apparently used to come down and practice his goal kicking, and made him spectacular. Could mark and dodge and weave, and it was just pretty to watch him.
Yeah.
I can remember him playing in his purple pants. For whatever reason, pants, and even some of the older Wadiki players, when they used to wash them, the dye, it'd go out of the pants and they'd be purple. And you can tell by the colour of the purple how long they've been playing.
True.
Yeah, Peter Guy was only telling me the other day, he reckoned he'd run at you with the ball and make out to give it to you and then just sidestep it and go around and kick a goal. But when I first started, old Vic used to still come to the footy, and particularly in Kimber, and he'd be standing up by the goals, and if the ball was coming forward, old Vic was there by the point post, and he'd say, "Here's a go, here's a go."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's a go. There's a chance. Well, he would have sniffed. He would have kicked a goal. He could. It's just like he was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stories about old Vic a long time before me, but when they used to go down to Mortlock Shield on the rail car, and old Vic used to get drunk and drive the rail car. And a story about, I don't know whether that's right or not. But
Yes, he was right, all right.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me, just on that rail car. I remember years ago, went down to a summer school in the Port Lincoln and caught the train back to Kimber. And of course, like kids, you're saying, when you go to stop to throw the cream cans off, and the train driver was having a drink, and so was him. Anyway, the train driver goes to sleep, and he's sitting there, then the train's going, the rail car, the old green rail car's going clackety-clack, clackety-clack. And they said, "Oh, where are you going to stop?" "Oh, Dark Peak." And of course, we're sitting out watching. Dark Peak comes, Dark Peak goes. Train's still going on. And then the thing that worried me was if he's going to sleep going through Kimber, I had no idea how to stop a train, because you'd probably just had to leave it, but I didn't know what it was and didn't go anywhere near it. And I was thinking, God, if it gets to Buckleboo, because I used to ride a horse out here to Buckleboo, and at the end of the railway line, that's where the official end was, and there's a great big stopper. And I thought, well, it'll crash in that, we'll just get ready, and just before it hops, we'll jump out. Anyway, they eventually woke up before Kimber. So, I mean, that's not really football, is
No, he wouldn't stop at Kimber and let the Kimber light out.
Because that was almost like a bus sort of.
Yeah, it was a bus rail. And every fortnight, it'd have a mail run here to Buckleby store and bring in goods from wherever you ordered them. I don't know where they used to come from, but we go out to Buckleby on Tuesday nights, and so it was a special night there, and all sorts of funny things to go on there.
Yeah.
Big social gathering.
Yeah.
That's Ross Walling. He was my brother-in-law. He was captain coach. That's my brother Jim. That's John Hannon. His wife Rhonda is still alive at 95. Or Colleen plays bridge with her every week. This 95-year-old woman. Jeff Nottle was a school teacher, only spent a couple of years here, and that's a letter he put into the mail one day of just about country footy in Kimber. Gordon Atkinson, he was a long-time Kimber resident. Gavin Wilson came here working for Jack Pike, his uncle. Peter Rawson, he was in the post office. Teddy Haskett came down from Whyalla, but there were Hasketts in the area ever since it started. That's Ross Enright, Megsy's uncle Ross. Bronte Walling. Peter Arbin, he came here in Elder Smiths many years ago, good footballer. He went to Kangaroo Island, and that's where he ended up. Laurie Smith, his father was a farmer down Wadiki Way, and he played for Wadiki for quite a while, but he come and played for Kimber for a couple of years. And that's Don Kelly. The Kellys came over here from Adelaide and started farming and whatnot. David Duncan, his father was Jock Duncan, who had 3 different stores in Kimber, grocery stores and whatnot from the real early days. Laurie Buckley, he came here in the Bank of Adelaide. Kevin Pearce, he's still here. He's my twin, we're the same age, so that's 2 of us that are alive, and my brother Jim and Jeff Nottle. Ross has passed on, the brother-in-law. That's Desmond Enright. That's Megsy's eldest brother, the little mascot in that 53 team.
Known as Goog?
Yep, that's Goog. And that's Jack Stockdale. He came after the war and he married a Haskett girl, and he started a boot shop, shoe shop and boot shop, and used to repair, you know, resole your shoes and boots. And that's Gordon Enright, Megsy's father.
Builder.
And that's Ray Harradine.
Who's that, sorry?
Gordon, Megsy's father.
So he could play?
Yeah, he was a good little rover. Yeah, just ran all day, yep. And Ron, another brother, was a big ruckman. I was going to get back to that before, about the 47 and 49, Kimber had premierships. And there was a lot I had to call Mister, but I was boundary umpiring for him. But there was Claude Ramsey and Ray Carter and Ron Enright, Ross Enright, Errol Enright, the younger brother, Gordon Enright.
The Enrights were the core.
They were
and they had some wonderful footballers amongst them.
Did Gavin come down and play in Adelaide?
Yeah.
He did?
Gavin could have played bloody AFL.
On Gavin Enright, Jim will back me up on this. Gavin was the strongest player when I was playing. Like he was just physically strong. And the reason why he was, like his arms, because every morning, almost every morning, Saturday morning included, him and his dad would mix 4 or 5 barrel loads of concrete and do, 3 or 4 square metres. And that's what he was used to, shoveling, and like if you got onto him, he just pushed you away. Like he was just tougher and more powerful than any other player in that time. And that was just because, he's part of the Enright building group or whatever, but that's what he was.
This is, 1968, you had another win.
Yeah, we did, 66, 68, 70 and 71 or 2. But Megsy had taken over in 70.
But you're still coaching at this point?
Yeah, and I was crook again that day too.
You were too?
Yeah, but I didn't play, but I had played all the year and played years after that too. But that was Gavin Enright.
Very hard to get hold of, apparently.
He built like a brick shit house, is like I'd see him going to work and shoveling 3 tonne of sand at 7 o'clock in the morning almost every day of the week when they were bricking. And yeah, he was extremely fit, extremely strong.
Johnny Kaiser, Chuck Connor, Tony Frangos, he was in the Bank of Adelaide, and that's big Oscar Lamble, he's still here.
Yep.
And Graham Steele, school teacher. Mayfield, not Jeffrey, Allen.
Oh yeah.
He ended up as a big agricultural advisor. Jim Toole, he ended up training and driving a really good trotter that Colleen and I owned.
Oh, yeah.
We won about 25 races with him.
Wow,
yeah,
good
all
job.
over the state. Kevin Pearce, Jim Toole, Bob Poynton, yeah. He was crook that day too, apparently. Peter Rawson, Graham Pearce, Megsy Enright, Greg Patterson, myself, Kev Pearce, Jeff Blight, Jasper Reed. Now,
could play.
Jasper went to Whyalla, yeah, and had a really big time up there. And Byron Nottle again, I don't know, Maury's not in that one. Bill Baisley, he was our local chemist. He was president. That was his, no, he was first president in '66 when we won it, and again in '68. And poor old Bill ended up having some heart problems, and he got too much for his wife to look after, and he got put in the Southern Cross home way down, Somerton way, where my mother was for a few years. And I used to see old Bill there, and I'd always said, go and talk to him at the table, and he'd talk about football and everything, and the blokes sitting around the table would say, "You never played football, you wouldn't know the first thing about it." Oh, bit of fun. Roger Venning, Roger lives over here, and Ian Whitwell, he's in Port Augusta.
Is he?
Mickey Fimry, he's in Adelaide. Glenn Wormsley, school teacher, married a local girl, but he's in Adelaide somewhere. Billy Astrope is in Port Augusta. Joey Yates is still here. That's our eldest son, Marty, as our mascot.
Great.
That's my father there. That's my oldest brother there.
Oh yeah.
He was a little goer though, Oscar. He was. Did he finish before you started, Gordon?
I can remember seeing him play. I boundary umpired for a while when I was 15, and it was pretty good football then.
He's
when Nashi was coaching Kimber, and Wadiki had Ken McDonald and Dennis Kenny and Ray Wilman as rovers. That was good to watch. You know?
Cess Carlaw as ruck.
Yeah, I can't remember Cess, but I certainly remember Ken. You know.
No, Cess was rucking before Ken, and, and to Dennis Kenny and Barry Ryan.
Oh yeah, I remember Barry Ryan.
They had 3 little fellas there that could really
good players. Yeah.
And a good ruckman, big tall man. Handle it to them.
So what position your dad play?
He was a rover, as you can see, he's only a small bloke. Rover come cinnamon.
Good luck doing all your editing.
Well, it takes time,
I think
doesn't it?
that was the '66. Look, we won that premiership in '53, and then 13 years later, the '66.
Which is
we had
that one? That's '66, isn't it?
Yeah. We went 13 years, and I was captain coach in those.
Well, tell me who's in that one?
Oh, Byron Nottle, Graham Pearce, Jim Toole, Jeff Blight, Jeffrey Mayfield, Merv Nichols, Graham Steele, Graham Connor, Maurice Stasnowski. Maurice Stasnowski and his son-in-law ended up Byron Nottle. They were our 2 runners out there and rub your legs if you got sore leg for years and years and years. Joey Yates, he's still here. Bill Paul's passed on. Greg Patterson's passed on. He came up from Lincoln, worked at Elders. It's Kev Pearce again. Johnny Kaiser, he's now at Wallaroo. Roger Venning, he's just over the road here. Lawrence Hutchins was just a local lad. He had bad luck and he lost an eye, didn't he, at school in an accident?
Terrible bad luck. How'd it happen?
He was always annoying, but he was sitting behind this lad. It was a day when we had inkwells and and compasses were on. So this lad turned around and tried to just jab him a bit, but unfortunately Laurie's head was right there and he got him in the eye. It got infected and he lost it. It was really quite bad luck.
Yes.
Doc Cummings, he came here from Cleve, he was in Elders. Megsy Enright, Buck Yates, Billy Astrope, myself, Glenn Wormsley and Michael Fimery.
So that was your first year coaching?
It was, yeah, and we got a premiership. We'd had 2 real down years. I don't know, we were last, I think, but I don't know. That was the first year I took them on, and I used to think, well, they've got to be a lot fitter and be able to last a game out, and used to do a lot of running. They used to complain. Had to do a mile before you started. And
until they got fit.
And around the track again.
Oh, good.
No, but it all kept up, yeah.
Being a 4-team final, we were fortunate enough that year to finish last.
Is that
in the
right?
Premiership.
Wow.
That is not right, Oscar.
Is that? No.
That's the first year I coached.
That's,
and
66, but it's the first one you won for donkeys here, so I thought we were...
First premiership since 53, but
yeah.
The year before we were last, and the year before that we were last. Jock O'Reilly was coaching, I reckon.
Yeah.
But we didn't click. No, well, you can...
Well, you'd have to look up the thing, yeah.
So Oscar's had those books, and he read those books only a few years ago. Don't you remember?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, look, here we are, 1966. Let's have a look.
So
every match and every round's in there.
What does it say towards the end for the finals?
No, but we'd won enough that we weren't anywhere near the bottom then. We were in 65 and 64.
Oh, right. Well, I've been telling the wrong story for a long time.
Oh, well, it's probably a good story, Oscar. Well, in one of these was that big paper story about Lamble kicking a heap of goals at Cow one day.
Oh, yes.
You remember that?
Yeah, that was...
68 or...
68, and I think I was probably a bit lucky that day because Peter Wren and David Masters weren't playing.
Yeah, and you kicked straight.
Goodness me, this is quite good actually. Oh, here we are, Oscar. You'll find your headline in there.
What time of the year would it have been, Oscar? Would it have been in May or...?
Yeah, it would have been... I think you have 2...
Whose books have you got there?
Peter's.
Oscar's? Oh, Peter's.
They're good, aren't they?
They are. Unbelievable.
That's the one.
Yeah, I was given best Colin Rayson, who was my rover, and Gavin Enright, Mick Fimery, who's played as a rover a bit too, yeah.
Or on the wing, yeah.
And it was a very low-scoring game on a very windy day, and we got 6-22. They got 6-4, but I got 3 of the 6 goals. Look, you know, I never thought I'd win a best and fairest in the association because I wasn't that sort of flashy sentiment type player, but that day I just could not do anything wrong.
Well, that was at Cow. Yep.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Great. But you were talking about 1966. Can we just come back to
Oh, yeah, back to the grand finals or the...
Yeah, the finals, yeah. Poor standard for semi-finals.
First semi was Kimber and Wadaki.
Ah, you've got it there.
Yeah, the whole, and the team's there too. Like,
Yeah, no, well, the one I'm thinking of, we...
So what was the story of the finals here? You just won and won and won, or what happened here?
Oh, I think we did, yep.
You finished top that year?
Yeah, that's the first year we won.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Yeah, I mean, that, after the minor round.
Yep, I reckon.
I don't know whether we did.
It'll tell you over here. We got interleague, we got no Kimber answer to Jervois game.
Yeah.
I think that's, I know, there we go.
Now, are we in 66 still?
Yes. This is the minor round.
Yeah, yeah.
First semi-final would have been 3rd and 4th. Oscar, you might be right. Second semi-final was Kelly Buckleboo. And then preliminary we beat Buckleboo and then we beat Kelly. So we were either 3rd or 4th, you're right, Oscar. Yeah.
Been looking at it with rose-tinted glasses all these years, Peter. Yeah, we came through and basically we just flogged everybody.
So we came from bottom to top in 1 year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good job.
I think the longer the year went, the fitter we got. That was...
Yeah, and the more able, you know.
And then you beat Buckleboo in the preliminary final.
Yeah.
Wow. In fact, you
But
doubled their score.
The big upset was beating Kelly in the grand final.
Tell me about it.
That was not supposed to happen. Well, it was for us, but... God, I remember Jared Eates and Mick
Here we are, after 13 years.
Yeah.
Well, they had their good supporters like Mick Kelly, you know, but we had some brilliant supporters too, like, you know, Bill Baisley and Claude Ramsey and...
all
sorts of them, yeah.
They all stuck to Kimber, yeah.
Very good.
But anyway, it was an upset, but we beat them fairly easy in a way on the scoreboard.
Yeah. Well, 7-12 to 4-8. It's quite a good win. I got a split eye.
That day?
Yep.
They report it?
No. I don't know, I was rucking against Gordon Bryborough and somehow I collected one like over, you know, the thin skin on your eyebrow.
A bit of blood. Yeah.
And I had to get it stitched up, but it was also the night I met Diane.
Okay.
So it didn't hurt your chances then?
Yeah. So, yeah, we had 3 or 4 good years, but some of the lads that were coming here, like Chuck Connors or Graham Connor, he ended up winning the male medal. He was in the bank. Jeff Blight was in the bank, good footballer, hard. Merv Nichols with a stock firm. We relied on these elders and teachers and stock firm ones. And the banks, because we just didn't have enough young ones to make a full team anyway.
And that's the nature of, well, every town has like a town team for like the people who tended to come in and out of town a bit.
Drifters, yeah. Oh, that's in 72. I was coaching. I was coaching then.
What position did you play?
Oh, around the centre. You know, centre come half forward.
Yep.
Yeah, just drifting around. I wasn't always this big, I can tell you. I was pretty fine then. You're not taping this, I hope?
Of course not.
We had a various number of Guernsey, like we progressed from just the blue one with the gold stripe, and then we went to the blue one with the gold eagle.
What were they made of?
Just wool, scratchy old wool. Yeah, I played. That was my first year. I was 14 when I played my first senior game.
What year's this?
That'd be 66. Yeah, 66.
And you won?
Yeah, we won. We never won consecutive. There was always trouble keeping a team together because they were drifters. Yeah, we had a lot of bank workers. We had all the bank workers and stockies, a lot of stock agents.
Over the years, probably Buckleboo and Kelly, probably Wadigi got its fair share, far more than Kimber. Kimber was about once every 5 or 6 years. I think we won 2 in a row in the late 50s and early 60s, but after that we used to battle, mainly because a lot of our team were floating population. And this week we'd have this year we'd have the bank manager and the stock agent, and et cetera, and then next year they'd go and be shifted on with their job. And so sometimes we got an influx of really good footballers, and sometimes we got some that were no good at all. But
there's a great name associated with the old Kimber Footy Club, Buck Yates.
Late 50s.
Loved it, and he was a great administrator, Buck.
Yeah. Kimber team really did, if you look at 50% of those people, they are school teachers or bank manager or managing staff or stock agents.
Yep.
When they come to town, who are we going to play for?
Obviously
play for Kimber, because we don't have to go to Waterkey, Buckleby. So they played for Kimber.
And Kelly was more of a farmer's
Yeah,
club,
pretty much. Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So Dickie Clement says?
Yeah, Dickie said. Yeah, Dickie,
He was a Kelly boy because his family, even though he was a mechanic, his family were originally farmers, and that's why they were Kelly.
Yes, yeah, originally.
Originally farmers, the Clements?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
Oh, just down the road here, about 5 mile. Started there in 1920. Dad did come up from Arnhem Bay.
Hence the Kelly affiliation?
Yeah, I don't know what made us go to Kelly.
Being farmers, that's apparently it.
Yeah.
Because the Kimber Club was more the bank employees, the stock agents, plus the Enrights.
Yeah, Enrights, yeah. I played for them 1 year.
Did you?
Kimber, yeah, 52 I played for Kimber.
Fantastic.
I come out of the Navy and didn't know where to go. So, oh yeah, we'll give you a game, but trouble with that, I had about 6 bloody captains telling me what to do. And I didn't like that, so I went over to Kelly.
Very good.
Bounce is not a good one, by umpire.
Oh, here we go.
Dickie Clements playing for Kelly.
Wonderful player.
Oh, beautiful.
Why did you play for Kelly?
You got him.
Oh, yep. Just because the old man said, I think. But yeah, we lived on a farm originally, so yeah.
Who's the old man from you?
Out of town, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were farming
Yeah.
If you go back?
originally.
No, Dickie started in
Well, his grandfather.
didn't he, really?
Yeah, but the family.
Oh, yeah. Well, Roy Clements, he was one that used to do our, like Stewie's 90, but his father used to do the Ramblers and Rovers. He'd be one that was always there encouraging them. And he'd often ring the bell, I think, like mid-eats.
So that was to start the game? And
yeah, and quarter time.
You had a bell?
Yeah, just ding a bell, and that was time to start or time to finish.
And it was like that for the seniors too?
Yes, it was. Oh, sirens, they're modern.
Kelly would be looking forward to getting that $800 second prize money at this stage. They're not going to give it up without a fight either.
So I was a mechanic and at school, but yeah, because the old man was
one of Kimber's best footballers.
Kelly connection, yeah.
Yeah.
Much like Rovers over at
He's just a wonderful footballer to watch.
They're the farming.
Well, they were the farming club, and
Right,
then there was the town boys were streaky.
Yeah.
Could mark, could kick, could kick goals, could win grand finals.
So what year was this, do you know?
This is 1982.
82.
And this is at Wirral, Premier and Premiers.
At Wirral.
His grandfather would be in that black book for Roy Clements.
McAvoy's clearing kick for Wirral once again. We see Clements for Kelly.
I remember him as a colt because I spent probably 10 years umpiring after I gave up footy, and he was a left foot or right foot.
Lewis has got bumped out of it. Two Tasmans run into one another, kicked off the ground by Mallee Park. Mallee Park handballs on, picked up, and Dickie Clements snaps at goal and kicks the first goal for Tasmans.
Dickie won back-to-back male medals in Lincoln.
Right.
And he was then he come back here and played for Kimber District and won a couple more, I think.
And he was I'll say he was a cheeky little boy on the footy field. It was all in good fun. Like he wasn't frightened to say this or say that to you on the footy field, but...
A good footballer, a nice lad too.
Yeah.
Dickie.
And I remember the year he won the Moss Francis medal.
Okay.
They were doing the count and he was getting a few votes going through, and they got, I think there was 2 or 3 of them fairly level, and they got to the last game, and I knew it was a Kimber Kelly game, and I knew I'd given him the vote that day. He'd played a great game.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was going to win it, and he did too. Yeah. No, he's a good, and then he went on further and further. And now one of his lads is playing down for
Marble Range.
Marble Range.
Geordie.
He's played all over South Australia, Geordie, yeah.
So Max Black on the outer wing.
And he's catching.
Putting good pressure on. A lot of pressure.
Good pressure.
Had to get a pretty ugly kick away, way backs. Got Brock Davis in the back
Run
pocket.
for the ball.
Good tackle, and the ball's out of bounds. Amateur hour. Range got the quick kick away. Dave Watson has it. Puts it up a little bit higher. Works well for John T. Had a lot of it, but didn't get called the mark. And
they're kicking out in the swing.
Dannon Blacker is coming out of defence.
Bounced. No one's challenged.
Had 3 bounces.
Now he's being challenged.
All the time in the world.
Yep.
Pretty ugly kick, but it seemed to miss
go.
all the way backers.
No. Oh, well stopped.
Todd Owen, we're going to say that he got a hand to that, but it looked like it might have been a falcon. And Geordie Clements with a huge kick from outside 50, slots it straight through the middle.
Well done.
Played a huge, well, he's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Every year, but he played a huge role in that grand final they won in 2021.
Yep.
In fact, I'm pretty sure he was best on ground that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was incredible because of course they came back and won it by less than a goal, 3 points I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the Curtis of Sales and Service scoreboard, thanks to our #1 ticket holder.
2 goals, 7 plays, 4 goals, 8. Close game really. They're certainly not out of it. And they haven't really started to play. Now they've started to play.
Roy Clements used to ring the bell and organise the kids and goal umpire sometimes. And Mid-Eats was the chief man. I don't know if you remember that.
No,
He seemed
I don't.
to be, yeah.
No, yeah, but like the Clemenses, there's been some notable footballers like Troy played for Norwood. And,
he's a good lad and he's a great footballer.
Yeah, he was too, that's for sure. Yeah, and he's still around the place. I said he's a fireman in Adelaide now. Been there for years. No.
And you're very proud of him?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, but all the Clemenses have got to mention there, they were nephews and all that sort of thing. And
because there's a bit of talent in the Clements family.
Well, one of the nephews, he went down and played for one of the Lincoln teams at one stage, and he won 2 male medals while he was in Lincoln.
Where it's picked up there by Roger Johncock. He handballs it straight on to the running player. This goes on to Tim Carpenty. Tim Carpenty gets on onto his left leg, and where it's marked by Montgomery at centre half back. He's not checked. He goes on, takes 1 step, kicks his ball. They try to go down, and there's marked by Dick Clements. Dick Clements dodges around, gets his kick in the end, and kicks to Lewis.
Dickie, yeah.
Dickie, yep.
Yes, he's...
I was there at the time. In fact, he used to give me a ride to training out at Stanford because he lived up at Curtin Point, same as me, and I was just a kid with a bicycle.
Oh, yeah.
Long way to go on a bicycle.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's a small world, isn't it?
It is. But yeah, Dickies could really, really, really play. Ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Balance.
Yes, he's got a garage down the street. He does a marvellous job there too.
Umpire comes in, bounces the ball. It's a good bounce. Try to be grabbed from behind. Yeah, and this time Miller will take the free kick, being attacked from behind.
The best thing I ever did when I was in Lincoln, played in the Mortlock, played a few games down there. And
did you? Sorry, what'd you do?
Played a few games for Kimber and the Mortlock Shield teams down there. And when I read the results come out in the magazine, I was playing this game in the back pocket and I kicked 2 goals. So I thought that's one claim to fame that I got. I don't know who the hell was there helping me, but yeah.
Prime brings it in to Davey. He's got it on the 50. He rolls, looks inboard. Oh, he's gone the barrel.
Gone the barrel. That's a long barrel too.
He's going to bounce. How's it going to go? Oh.
A lot of bodies there at centre half forward for Ports. Yeah. Ball up.
Ball up. Oh, he's going to go up here. Cooper Llewellyn again for Ports.
Riley Martin breaks through, clears the area out to young Nick Francis on the wing.
Dave.
Benny Clements attacks the ball strongly, picks it up.
Nice pick up. Oh, good ball movement from Kimber.
Darcy Noel again, half forward, takes the mark. Into the goal square, Joel Fitzgerald takes a mark.
Done that before.
Yes. Done that many a times as Joel. And I think this year, it's through the stats, I think he could be up for his 1,000th goal this year,
wow.
Joel Fitzgerald. He's been a prolific goal scorer.
That's a good effort. I'll probably put this one in the book.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he misses this. He likes kicking goals.
Ooh,
Beautiful kick by Joel, so goal to Kimber into the breeze.
Yeah. But you would have played against Clemence's yourself?
Because?
You would have played against Clemence's?
Yeah, it was Stewie.
Oh, yeah.
Played against Stewie.
Were any of them ambidextrous like Dick, or that was just Dick?
No, Stewie was only a right-footed. Dickie was...
ambidextrous, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I reckon Shawnee was only a one-footed footballer too, as a Colt.
Yeah.
Down it goes. This time the mark's got away by Mallee Park, picked up by Caldwell. Caldwell handballs to Lewis. Lewis across to Easton. Easton on his left leg to Casanova, who tries to take a one-handed mark. To Clements try to take a one-handed mark. He gets back on his right leg, kicks it in deep, where a good mark's taken there by Craig Milton. Craig McLeod, I'm sorry.
You would have played against Dick's father?
Dick's uncle I did, yeah.
Yep.
That was a reunion, 50-year reunion, 40-year reunion.
Is that 1966?
Huh?
Oh no, this is when you were coaching, so this is 72.
Yeah. And like you say, there's a lot of connection there. Jenny was an Enright, Helen was an Enright, Margaret's accent was an Enright, Helen was an Enright, and that's my sister Beverly.
Wow.
So
he was an Enright?
Yeah. So the netball club was pretty much Enrights, yeah.
Yep. And we've got a few more photographs here.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's an association one?
Yes, it is, yeah.
What's the story with that one? How old were you?
I just kept them because I was getting the games when I was a kid, like I was getting association games when I was a kid.
How old were you when you first played association?
16 there.
Yep.
And that's a really old club photo there.
But that's a junior association side?
No, that's association. Colts.
Yeah, definitely Colts.
It was C. Clark. Is that Colin?
Colin Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Bruce Race and
Terry Walling.
That would have been a fairly good team.
Yeah, it looks a good lot.
Have you talked much about Gav Enright?
Oh, tell me about Gav Enright. Could play?
Well, for everything that Corey's done at Geelong and Robbie did at West Torrens, Gavin could have equalled them or bettered them in my book.
Yeah,
What did he win?
I agree.
Five male medals. Had a couple of years in Whyalla, won a Whyalla medal. Yeah, all due respect to them all, Gavin,
I agree.
to my mind, would nearly be number one.
Yeah, he was two-footed too. You know, very, very good ball handler.
Couldn't catch him, or couldn't grab him. He wriggled his way out of anything.
No, he just never had the inclination, it seems, to go to Adelaide or anything, but he was just as good as Robbie and probably better.
Although I do remember Robbie's first game, Oscar, he was 14 and I was coaching at the time, and I went to Ron and I said, we'd like to give him a run in the A grade, but he's only 14. What do you think about it? Well, if you think he can have a game, give him a game. He was quite happy. But some parents wouldn't like you to, because he wasn't real tall. Well, Robbie come out and played a rattler of a game. A little bloke, nobody could catch him, and then he went on to Torrens for years and years and years.
Yeah, it's like Gav never seemed to have the inclination, but he was really good.
Yeah, yep.
That's the senior one, is it?
Yep. Yeah, there's... Hang on, let me have a look. Senior Colts, sorry.
Senior Colts.
That's Senior Colts. Yep, that one.
Yep.
That's a senior side there. As you can see, I wasn't carrying too
Oh, Bill Baisley. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're very young there.
Who was that?
Bill Baisley. He was the pharmacist.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't remember Bill playing footy.
He's a trainer there.
Yeah, that's right. I remember he was the chemist. He was
Yeah, that's right.
pharmacist. He had a nickname on the plane, Bill. Did you know that?
No.
He was a teacher,
Bill Baisley.
banker, a stock agent, farmer, teacher, farmer. Oh, he was a mechanic, farmer myself, stock agent, farmer, bank, Jasper, magnificent footballer, that bloke.
Yep.
Mechanic, still going to school, teacher, tyre fitter, farmer. Yeah.
Yep.
Megsy's really nailing it there in terms of what made up our footy.
Oh, I know.
There's Oscar there. You saw Oscar.
Good bunch of blokes that just...
Do you remember the grand final?
Huh?
Who'd you play in the grand final?
Oh, God, come on now.
Grand final?
Yeah, but I played in 6 of them, 7 of them.
How did you win out of the 6 or 7?
4.
4. So it's not bad going.
No, well, I retired at 26.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? Ah, they didn't do that. Building. Footy.
Smashed it all up right through there.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, and I was in business. And
So it's not good.
No, I tried, but I just couldn't have full control of a footy or anything like that, and I couldn't do my work probably. I was self-employed, but I still couldn't get the jobs done. So I went up here to the local bloke about the 4th trip that they had all these things on them, trying to straighten it out and stitch it up. I said, mate, I've had a guts for this. He said, well, there's only one option. I said, let's do it. And he just peeled it back like a banana and and then I said, well, I can't play footy. So I didn't, 26 I was, yeah. But I put a fair bit in the shelf by then. You know, I was 3 or 4 times best and fairest. I was runner-up to a male medal 3 times by 3 votes. 1 vote every time.
He always said he was robbed of a male medal by Jim Hamlin. Come second, I think.
You jammed in a lot of good footy, actually.
Yeah.
And where were the celebrations held?
Well, we had our wind-ups out in the scrub.
Did you?
Yeah.
Out of bushy?
No. The wind-ups usually ended up in somebody's backyard. Like my father hosted quite a few of them, and he had a barbecue hot plate as big as his table, and they cart a trail load of stumps in to get all these coals, and then they just throw on a half a sheep, a half a beast, cook the whole lot, wad it all in, and
victory dinner in the show pavilion, 250 people, if you don't mind.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
What they call the wind-ups. We'd all go out in the scrub somewhere, just 5Ks, 10Ks, and kick the ball through the scrub. The girls would get salads prepared, and we'd just get drunk and come on home. Because them days there was no drink driving laws.
No, that's it.
You know, we could get away with anything as far as footy was concerned. I mean, I remember one particular game I was coaching, and the boys decided to come around to my first house. They decided to come around there and have a game of cards. Well, it was 4 o'clock in the morning that I got rid of the last of them, and we had to play down at Waterkey, which is 3/4 of an hour away. And I was coaching and still drunk when we got there. But it didn't worry. We won that game, and Saturday then we drank what we call King Browns, is the big long necks. Drank a few King Browns in the change rooms and drove on home. In actual fact, my mum and dad were coming home after that particular night, and Dad had no idea when he was drunk. And he parked, he thought he was home, but he'd actually parked in the Waterkey silos in the grid.
Right.
Him and Mum went to sleep, woke up in the morning and said, shit, where are we, Gordon?
Where
are we, Gordon? He said, oh, in the Wanakee silos grid.
He built his own
True story.
shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
They wanted off, but that's how it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we even down here at this, the new footy club, excuse me, I remember one night they had a cabaret down there and all the women and kids were always involved.
Yeah.
And we had Corey, who was only 4 years old, and we both got home and we'd had plenty to drink. And Maxine said to me, we got halfway down the passage, he said, have you got Corey? And I said, no, I thought you had him. Went back down there, he was asleep under the table. We'd forgotten him, you know, but that's the time. And there's two of our senior players were looking after him for us.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
Just in case he woke up looking for Mum and Dad,
Yeah.
they were standing guard. But yeah, everybody was one in, all in, you know, it was really good. The old times.
A football family.
Well, not so much a family, the whole club was a football family.
Kelly was very much like that, weren't they? Kelly was very much like that.
Yeah.
One in, all in, and Kelly Footy Club, they were pretty closely knit.
Well, he had a look at that netball side there.
Yeah.
How many of the girls were involved?
Yeah.
You know, so what do you lost, mate?
No, I'm just putting another camera on.
No, that won't be enough.
Because the right number is more, you see.
Hey?
The right number is more.
Oh, okay.
Of cameras.
I don't know what else I've got here, Derek, to show you, but are we going all right, are we?
Ball's back in the square. Scrambling around for it. Both teams' players. Clements has picked it up. For Kelly, he's been felled. The ball's been taken on.
I found some old footage of Kelly.
Yeah.
In 1982.
Kelly. And I'm trying to think of some players. Marty Seal was the captain coach of the Kimber League, but he was also the captain coach of the Kelly Club. Mick Haskett, you get a bit of input about Mick Haskett?
No, tell me about him.
Mick was pretty well, we wouldn't have had a club rooms without Mick.
Right.
Mick was a builder. His family came to Kimber as early settlers, very early. I think they might have even taken up land first in the Kimber-Kelly area. Mick was a stalwart of the club, of Kelly, always in his training gear. When I was a kid, he was there every week almost. Him and another old fella called Paddy O'Leary and another bloke called Dick Harris, who they were locals. The 82 side would have had Dick's son, John, in it. So Mick was a carpenter, or he'd done some sort of trade, and as a builder. Yeah, so he, along with Tony, his son, who later passed, they were responsible mostly for the building of the Kelly Football Club. Lyle Grundle, I think, might have been the president at the time, and he sort of helped put it all together as well. Yeah, he was a very good president for Kelly Football Club. But yeah, no, Mick certainly deserves a lot of accolades for the club rooms. He was very good.
Tell me about this bloke.
Gary Steele, Colin Steele. Yeah, no, Colin was a man. He was. He did everything he could possibly think of in his lifetime.
Man and a half.
He was. He was up there with the loudest and the biggest, and never wouldn't back down from anyone. He was and
a great footballer.
Great footballer.
Colin Stutley is the first one to play 50 games for Central District.
Stutley was one of the early ones, and he was a tough, rugged player. Really was a country guy. In our second year, we were going pretty well, and Stutz was a good half-back flanker, and I thought he'd make the state side. But when they, but he was got injured. He was injured, and they just ball put it on his arm.
can't hold this one. Coming in to help his Brett, but overruns the ball. Oh, play and go to ground. Smith has gone down like a log. He's got cramp as well as this indicates for the trainer, and umpire Ducker will come in and bounce. We're on the
Sutley got injured and is out, and we won a game in the second year. We won a couple of games, and he was a touchy guy, and he was due to come back in the side just automatically, and somebody put in the advertiser, or the advertiser writer put in there poser for Stutley. He sent meaning he's a poser, not a poser. He was a poser for selectors because somebody else had played well, but he was a poser with the. He read it wrong and reckoned that we'd set him up and called him a poser, and he got the sulks and wouldn't play for a couple of weeks. Wouldn't try. Yeah. Geez, it took us all. Everyone saying, look, you're not a poser. That's what the paper said, but they didn't say there's a poser for Centrals with Stutley, you know. But he thought it was a poser.
But you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Stutz was a very proud man, and that's right, because the way he ran, he stuck his chest out, and he was so confident, and that, I remember the article, and it read as though they were having a go at him, and I'd be the same. I reckon Stutz took it that way, but it wasn't that, it was just, but it's the way he looked, but he was a strong, healthy, going individual, but yeah, he took it the wrong way, old Stutz, those days, and he was a pretty mad man. He didn't take it too well.
Yeah, that's quite amazing when you think about it.
Yep.
So, Gerard Eates was Rex's father.
Oh, yeah.
Darryl Simons, the Simons boys, they came up from Warminda and took up some land and married locally, Darryl did. And Barry Pascoe there. He was an extremely good player that went to Melbourne. You've probably got a bit of info on him, I'd say.
Now I have.
Gordon Dryborough, he won a male medal. Three strapping young lads. He's lost one of them, unfortunately. One of them still lives here at Lucky Bay. The other one's up the Gold Coast. And so Stephen, the one that passed, he went down and had a few games for Woodville West Torrens. He was exactly like his uncle Colin.
Right.
Similar sort of bloke.
Yep.
Really good players and really good blokes.
Yep, large in the life characters.
Yes.
Well, when I was playing, Marty was at the end of his, but he was still playing. We won the Mortlake Shield in '63, County Jervois. We had Port Neill with us that year, and of course that made a difference. Port Neill had some very good players. Yes. And we won the Mortlake Shield and thought we were pretty bloody good, and we went up to Kimber and got beaten.
Kelly players trying to punch the ball away to get it out of the danger area. Captain Seal once again got the ball.
Seals go, right, don't they?
Oh, they do, yes. Yep.
Michael Seal apparently was pretty handy.
Yep. Yeah, he was down at Tasman's similar time that we were. Yeah.
Yep.
Or sort of that 4 or 5 years in Lincoln, yeah.
Yeah, good people.
Yes.
But Michael Seal, his father went all right too.
Marty, yeah. I think they had a Kelly team of the century or something, and Marty, I think, was, I don't know whether he was captain coach or something like that. But
you saw him play?
No, not that I can remember, no.
Yeah, you would have played with the Seals, the Suns though.
Yep. Geo Seal was champion, so yep. Stephen Seal.
Yeah.
Sid's got looks inboard, finds Cooper Llewellyn.
This guy's
centre
on
square.
On his zone all the time at the minute, is young Cooper.
Who's he going to go? Are you going to bomb it long to the top of the square?
It's a high ball.
And Brooks
Seal. Good mark by Brooks Seal on the chest.
Sat in the hole and done it well.
Brooks Seal?
Yes.
Yeah, no,
good player.
Good player, and a nice fellow.
And a good bloodline.
Yes. His father and his grandfather and that they were Kelly footballers originally, and once we amalgamated, Geo came in to be part of our from Kelly to be part of Kimber Districts. And yes, very good footballer, Gio.
And in the last game, a great win to Kelly, and the best on the ground was won by S. Seal.
Well, it was a great game out there today. All outdoors, we really enjoyed that game. It's one of the best games we've played this year. I'd like to thank Wirral for putting on a show like this. It's great. Bad luck, Kimber couldn't put up a little bit better effort. We all had $1,200, but we couldn't make it.
Typical Kimber understatement.
He got a male medal, so.
Certainly Peter Wren talks highly of him.
Yes, yeah, Pete was another staunch supporter of football, very staunch.
And who would know
Yeah.
what a good footballer is?
Yes, yes, yes.
Brooks' dad, Gio, was a terrific player for our club. Sadly no longer with us. But yeah, the Seal family is a big name in the Kimber district. But you know, the Gio Seal was he was a tremendous player for our club and for the league, and male medalist. I think if you go into our club and look at
Gio Seal.
Yeah, Stephen. I mean, he's got. Sadly, he's no longer with us, which is sad. But his grandson, young Mac, won the medal this year in the kids, and he's a great little footballer coming on. And yeah, when you look through this side here.
Well, just quickly, all the Seals can play.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. You know, we've had Brooks been a very good player for the club, and then of course Muncher or Michael's lads they're excellent young players and played in Premiership teams when I was coaching. So.
And Michael's pretty handy?
Yeah, Michael's a good solid player for sure, yeah. And look, we had some good times playing for Kimber Districts all those years. And
the great Gio Seal.
Yes, yeah, one of my favourite men of all time. He's very good to me, Gio was. And sad that he's no longer with us. But he was a very good player and he was a really good bloke.
For a great win.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brian. I think you enjoyed saying all that too. No, I'm very proud to receive this. I've got to thank the umpires. Thank you very much for finding in your hearts to give me a couple of those. But, congratulations to the Kimber fellas over here, the champion game of football there. They give us A-graders a bit of a lesson, I think, every now and again. B grade, bad luck. Cal, sorry, bad luck. Third time in the grand final, I think. You'll get there one day, I'm sure you will. But all the best for the A-grade game about to start, and thank you very much.
Thanks, David. And I want to say one again, we're giving a great old money as he goes around the aisle because we perfectly deserve this as a great sportsman.
Yeah, he hurt his ankle after that. Couldn't quite get it right. Fantastic. There's the boys. Hey, we're talking about Stephen Seal.
Legend.
Yeah. Absolute legend. Came from great family, and John was always involved in the football on league level as well as for Kelly. Mum was a wonderful person. Came from up Streaky way.
Kelly players trying to punch the ball away to get it out of the danger area.
He really blossomed. The older he got, the better he got.
Yeah.
Captain Seal once again got the ball. He's been able to dodge around a couple of...
And he was a great on-field leader.
He was a great on-field leader. As with this red-headed bugger here, Megsy, he was... if we were ever down, you knew that those two would lift. And I don't know what he's doing here, but It was everything he did. He tried to do the best he could. He was a great shearer, as his son is, Brooke.
Yep.
And
how did he get his nickname, Gio?
Well, if you have a bit of a look at him.
No one really wants it. Grun gets it. Adler's under it. He didn't hold it. Grun gets it once again. He's going to play on, forcing it up to half-forward area. Numerous players there all wanting it. The Kelly boys eventually get it. Here's danger. Drybarrow takes a big raking kick, which is well offline and out in the forward pocket to the left. We see Seal, the captain, turns.
It's very hard to say who would your best player be. But when I look at the Mile medalists, I think we've got 10. 2 guys have won 2 Mile medals each, Darren Hunt and Jesse Kemp. But when you look up on that wall and look at those players, the Dickie Clementses and all them, and these guys, Matt Leonard, they're all different type of players, you know, and which add to the dynamics of your team.
A part of our club that no one's mentioned is John Heath won, was it 5 Male medals?
Yeah, I was going to do that too.
He was a very, very good player, and he didn't worry too much about
his teammates.
His teammates, but he wanted a mark, he'd just leap over the top and take it. And he wasn't any taller than any of us, but he was a very, very good.
Yeah, if the ball was coming in and you were underneath it, he'd say, "Stay down, Bucks." Yeah. Just got out the road and he'd ride up over the top. Or
well, Hitchy was like that too. Those senior players would play more than half their section at centre, in a centre like Max Hitch that I played alongside. He just took your place, you know, because he didn't have the confidence and he was good to outmark, and they'd find him, they'd be over your back or whatever, that you just sort of stand there and let him take it. And that's the way the game was played, straight down the centre.
Ettridge loses out. Clements gets a mark on the half-back line. He's going back towards centre, looking for Captain Seal. Seal plays on. He eludes Mackenzie. His kick over goes to Johnson. Johnson, for once, didn't get hold of the ball. But we see Francis, this time out marking Collins.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Francis, was it?
20 metres out, directly in front. Francis shouldn't miss this one.
Because you're wearing the Streaky Bay Association jumper there.
Oh, this was the Premiers, was it?
Yeah, this guy's very
Premiers, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got flogged that year.
Well, Kelly were pretty strong.
Yeah, I stood a Francis lad, Shane Francis.
Oh, he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, I stood him and I thought, I had a bit of height on him, but oh geez, he could reach up. I went out once, I thought, this is going to go over his head, I'll take an easy mark here. No hope. He just went a bit higher and took a mark. Yeah, no, he's a good player. Yeah.
He's pushing it up to the half-forward area and finds P. Adler. Adler takes a outstretching mark, slides along the turf. His kick's a good one up to the forward area. And here we see Collins outmarked by his opponent, Francis. Francis, who played well earlier in the game, and we haven't seen him for a while. Took quite a good mark there. His kicks, just a beauty. Just through the goals quite comfortably.
Yeah, full forward.
And right on line.
Farmer?
Pretty skillful, yeah. Good kick, good mark. Yeah, originally a farmer, yep. Yeah. So.
And you played, well, probably not with him. He was probably.
Yeah, would have played with Shane, yeah.
I would have.
Yep.
But yeah, look, we've had some excellent players. I think probably currently Jesse Kemp is probably one that state country player. You know, he's such a big unit and plays big and tall. He's probably one of the standout players I've seen in our club, and of course young Riley Martin won the medal this year. So yeah, it's been good. But when you go through these photos and look at who we were playing against, the John Humphreys and Barry Hutchins, these guys, and Brian Ramsey was a terrific player for the Cleve Club. You know, he's one of the best I'd seen. I played against him in Whyalla actually, and yeah, Brian was a tremendous player. And Gav Masters at for Ports. You know, these guys were. Gavin was rock solid. You know, they played it hard. And
Big hand.
The Jenner boys, you know, there's been some really good players around. So Barry Hutchins, you know, probably one of the one of the best country footballers going around at the time.
Barry Hutchins and...
He's a cheeky little fellow, he's
short, Barry Hutchins. This has been well in his distance, 45 metres.
Yeah, he loves these shots for goal, Fred.
Usually a long, accurate kick.
Kicked 20 goals in one game last year, this fella. Should know where they are. It's a beautiful looking kick off the boot, and there's no doubt about it. He's a good kick for goal. That puts Eyre Peninsula 7-8 to Barossa and Enright 4-6.
Yes, took a long time to get that goal, Joe. 22-minute mark.
Badly needed goal, Freddie.
Desperately needed that one.
Well, Don't Pick Waterkey won that one with John Humphreys and Barry Hutchins both in the team.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember...
A couple of good players.
A couple of good players.
Really good, yeah. Yeah, not much better than them.
He could play both ends, yeah.
And then he switched and played forward and kicked a lot of goals.
Yeah, and then he ruck followed. Pretty versatile.
Played everywhere except ruck.
Yep, well, he could have done that too. Because he could jump a bit.
Oh, shit, Barry. I don't know how many male medals he won, 7 or more, I think, so yeah.
Kicked 25 goals one game.
Yep.
Bloke who could play. But look at that, you got John Humphreys to Joe Burgoyne to Barry Hutchins.
Barry Hutchins, wasn't he? Yeah. Great cricketer as well, Barry.
I think he played state country cricket.
Yeah. Little bloke behind him wasn't bad either. Little Bucky Bank.
So, yeah. Oh, Bucky. Yeah. They probably would have played juniors together at Waterkey, probably.
Fair chance.
Yeah, before Bucky came over to Kynecutter.
Yeah. Barry's still there, as far as I know. Lives not very far from the Waterkey club roads.
Two-sided player, you know, kick left leg bloody 60 metres and right leg 50, but because he was a left legger, but yeah.
Hutchins, he'll go in with his left leg in long.
Oh, a 60-yard kick. It could go to the top.
It's a good kick. It's a great goal by Eyre Peninsula. Well done, Hutchins. That's what they need. Get the ball down quickly. Get the quick handball out. Hutchins played well this last quarter. Fred, he's come in. He's had quite several very telling touches.
Well, I think perhaps the second half, he's been the one player from EP that's kept him in the game. He's in the third quarter, he had those 2 long shots for goal up there, and the last quarter he's continued on, and that was a tremendous running goal.
Scoreboard now 9-9 to 5-8. Eyre Peninsula.
That's a 19-point break at this stage at the 15-minute mark.
Big Max Parker gets the tap away. Hutchins in again, another kick to him. Johncock taps it on cleverly to Proctor. Proctor back to Johncock. Here's the kick around the body.
Goal. Yeah, magnificent.
Hutchins, yeah, Barry Hutchins, Peter Hutchins. Tom Hutchins was the father. And there's another girl I thought of that you'd find interesting to interview is Jeanette Joyce.
Oh, yes.
From Kimber.
Yep.
Jeanette Joyce, she was a McDonald from Waterkey, Or Kutra. And if you ever interviewed her, she would be very interesting. They live in Kimber, just up from the hospital. Would you like me to give her a ring and pre-warn her?
Yeah, do that, yeah.
Oh, hello. This is 2 days in a row. Jeanette, this is a business call. Excellent. We have a man here called Derek Rogers, and he was a journalist with the Port Lincoln Times and boarded with us in Port Lincoln. And I suggested to him that you would be interested to have an interview with him. Would that be right? Or tell him what you know, put it that way. That's all he's interested in. He's here with us now, and so he might give you a ring one day. Is that all right? That'll be fine? Yep. All right.
As Velmo was saying, you're something of a Wadiki fan.
Yeah, just a lover of Wadiki football and sport, I suppose. Any sport, I'll watch any sport on TV. I just love sport. In 1968, Greg Mullins came to Kimber in Southern Farmers.
He did. He went down there as captain coach. We were niggly on that because he was a Kimber.
Oh.
Should have been. Well, he was working.
Well, because he was stock agent at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right, so he was right for the Kimber.
He got all the stock down there, but he didn't get too many out around Kimber. Probably.
And we were Southern Farmers clients. And he used to, he'd previously played for Central Districts. And so he was coach and came out and took over the Wadiki Football Club. And he used to call in regularly because we were clients on Monday mornings. And he quite often would come to the house and we would have a discussion about football. I couldn't work it out to start off with, but anyhow we worked. He said to me at the wind-up, next year I want you to do stats for me. Couldn't possibly do that. But anyhow I did, and from 1968 to 1988, from 1968 to 1988, and then through for about 4 years in Dark Peak Wadiki, I kept the stats. I missed 2 games of football in that time. And
due to?
Well, one was Valmay's wedding, and the other one was I was in hospital with a baby boy.
Because I am aware, of course, that Keith and Valmay married on a game day.
Yes, that was, yes, but anyhow, that was...
because that's the only time the hall was available, I think.
The Institute in those days used to have pictures every Saturday night. And so, yeah, so you had to be really good to be able to book the Institute for any private functions.
Yes, and Valmay got a dream fella and a dream wedding. Can I show you a bit of Greg Mullins talking about playing for Wadiki? Who'd you play for up at Kimber?
Wadiki.
Wadiki?
Coach Wadiki. Yeah. I only played 1 year. Yep. The second year I did my AC join here in a big way in the trial match against Warramboo. Yep. Missed the season, but there's only 4 teams, so I played in the finals. But well, I couldn't play with a screw. I got the screw in the week before before the final started. I got it out and went and played. Yeah.
Peter Jackson followed him in Southern Farmers, and then they went top. The first year Peter was here, but I think that might have been Greg's coaching, not Peter's expertise.
Mind you, Peter could play a bit.
Oh yes, yes, he was a good outside player. He wasn't you wouldn't see him in the middle of a group anywhere. He'd be on the outside. He got 44 touches one day in a game down at Wadiki, just scouting around the edge.
And Greg Mullins was definitely an inside player.
Oh, and Greg was everything. Greg was everything. He was a brilliant kick, absolutely brilliant.
Drop kick in particular, I gather.
Yeah, absolutely. So so that was sort of started off. I done stats, and then my dad used to do Dad was heavily involved with football all his life, and he used to do the writing for the Tribune office. Up until 1974, and he went on a boat cruise and he said to me, can you do a write-up this week? My first answer was no, and he said, just, they'll help you do it, you just do it. And so we played down at Waikiki, we played against Kelly and got thrashed.
How did you approach the write-up?
Well, I had some really good feedback. Some Kelly supporters caught up with me the next week as we passed through Kimber to go out to Bugaboo to play. And they asked me who done the write-up. They said it wasn't one-eyed enough to be a Kelly supporter, and it was too, it gave recognition to both teams that it couldn't have been a Waikiki person.
Good job.
So that encouraged me to go on. And so from 74 until 88, I'd done Tribune, and I'd done some Mortlock Shield reporting with Max Harvey in Port Lincoln. So that was how that had happened.
That's how your career in football journalism happened?
In 1977, I became secretary of the Waikiki Football Club for 3 years. And in 1980, I was secretary of the league for 2 years and went to the affiliated leagues lunch in Adelaide the day before the grand final in 81. And I'm not sure. I think there may have been another lady there, but if there was, there were two ladies at the function with a lot of football nuts. But it was great fun. I was able to talk football, so
which is great fun.
Didn't matter. While I was writing, it was in 77, I was writing and stayed with a cousin in Whyalla and Jim Ganley. He was a pretty strong advocate on football in many ways. And he read my report that I'd done because I had to, and I was able to drop it into Whyalla News, same thing at those days. And so I got some good critic from him as well. So
it was typed or handwritten?
Handwritten. The game would be played on Saturdays and I would take notes, and I had to have it at Caroloo Hall by 11 o'clock Monday morning to meet the deadline, to meet the bus to get it to the deadline, so I had to write it out. And Dad's theory was, you just write what you think and they'll edit it out. Well, the first script, there wasn't one word altered.
Beautiful. And that is a compliment.
So that was, so they never, so from then on in, my stories just got...
Terrific. And that's a real boon to an editor too.
Sent in and printed. Well, some of the editors.
You didn't really want them touching your copy, did you?
Well, no, not some of them. They had no idea what football was all about.
That's correct. That's right.
But anyhow, that's my story on football.
Fantastic. All right, well, just let me show you the rest of this and we'll see if it sparks off any other thoughts.
They hadn't won a match for 10 years when I went there. They never had a proper coach.
Yep.
And
taught them how to win.
Yeah, well, the first match they could have beaten Kimber, but the second match down at Waikiki they did win. Yeah.
God, he was a tough coach. He was a tough coach. And he was tough on players were, I don't know, well and truly edging towards 40 and were only playing to make up the numbers, but they were treated the same as an 18-year-old. They got no consideration at all.
It was only Greg's standard. Let's have a quick look at this one while we got it there. Now here's your photographs. If you can tell me a bit about who's in those photographs, that would be terrific.
Good old Magpies. Peter Jackson, captain.
Right, which one are you, Gordon?
I'm the second from right back.
Can you point to yourself? There you go. So you tell me about the other blokes in there and their positions.
Well, the first one was David Jericho. We start left or right?
Well, you point to it.
All right.
We've got a camera over your shoulder, so.
Oh, have you? Oh.
Yeah. So you can just point to me.
Okay.
You don't have to describe it.
David Jericho, myself, Richard Timmins, Cliff Workman, Terry Wilding, Ken Harradine, Trevor Martin, president I think he was, Robbie Lloyd, Dennis Carter, Kel McDonald, Colin McDonald, Harry Krebs, Graham Wilding, Rob McDonald, who was that? Marshall from Richard Kemp.
Is it Sid Marshall?
Yeah, Iron Knob. Richard Kemp, Johnny Castro, Peter Jackson, captain, Jeff Jericho, Ken McDonald and Kevin Harradine.
And that was the Premiership team of...
71.
A good year, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's quite a good history, that one. And actually, Jeanette's brother gave it to me because I could never get hold of one. And he said, oh, I've got two there, I'll give you one. So
good on him.
I think I wrote in there from Ken McDonald somewhere. Yeah, from Ken McDonald, yeah.
See, that's 1950 in the red and black.
I see.
And obviously they've changed by that one that Peter was looking at.
Yep. Which might have been the old Carraway East jumpers, maybe.
Well, there were 2 or 3 recruits in there, but they were working in the area.
Oh, so there were a lot of farm workers then, and so
yes,
that had a lot to do with it, I guess.
Well, Bennett Farmers, Southern Farmers in Kimber. When Peter Jackson was the coach, us 2 or 3 others come down with him. We done all right out of the floaters.
And Wadiki, of course, originally was a merger of 2 Carroloo clubs.
I didn't go into the beginning of Carroloo when I'd done my homework on this, and it caused a little bit of a stir because there was some guy who was the first captain of Wadiki in 45 wouldn't come to the show because he said that that's when it started. But it was the Carroloo Football Association that just had 1 year. And as I've got in here, a lot of the Carroloo people, all the Schuberts and that were around the Carroloo siding area, they all went out and played with Coocher East, and that folded in 1940. And so then the players gave up over the war or became went into suspension or over the war, and then when they came back in 45, that's when Kimber really started.
And that's when Wadiki started?
When Wadiki, with the Kimber League, started with the 4 teams.
Because Wadiki was it Palinga?
Palinga, Carroloo.
And Carroloo combined to make Wadiki, is that right? Yeah.
Well, they would have just dispersed, Dark Peak Rovers, they would have became just Dark Peak.
That's right, Darks Peak became Darks Peak. Well, Dark Peak eventually. In fact, you've got Dark Peak and Dark Peak Rovers. I think Dark Peak Rovers was actually a B grade team. And then I think just for 1 year the A grade came in to the Carroloo Association. And then after the war, they went into the, Dark Peak went into the County Jervois or Cleveland districts. Cleveland districts, sorry.
Cleveland districts. Yeah, it would have been Cleveland districts. County Jervois wouldn't have happened until Cow done their amalgamations.
Franklin Harbour, that's right.
Yeah, and that would have been Franklin Harbour and Cleveland districts.
Correct, right, that's right.
Down on the club rooms, and I think if I hunted high enough, I should be able to find the 1940 grand final, Coocher East grand final team.
So I guess Coocher East would have been part of that original Wadiki club as well?
Well, Coocher East folded in 1940, and so that's when, like the McDonalds, we were living at Coocher East, and so, but they went further west. They went as far as Johnny Richter's and Stringer's up the Stringer Highway. They Wilmots, and then from Wilmots west would have been Waidaki Rock.
I guess one of the sad things about amalgamation and then even Dark Peak Waidaki disappearing is the loss of a place to put the photographs. And that's really sad because all that history was won.
That's just forgotten.
Oh, well, that's what you got Jeanette for, you see. That's what we've all got Jeanette for, because she's kept all these records.
Records, yes.
That's right. Yeah, because it can't be expected to remember all the minor details. But
no.
What do we got there? Some good players.
78, just says 78. There's a fair few imports in this one. Peter Carter and Kev Racing. Where's Kev Racing, Jeanette? Where was he to?
I think we've been working for somebody down there, I think.
Dennis Smart. What did he be playing then? 78.
Oh, he's in the picture.
I can't work him out.
Oh, that's right. Well, give us that one and grab the next one.
Oh, this old one, this one.
So can you tell
48.
Can you tell me any names in that one?
Not a very good picture. Yeah, I can tell a few. Gunnar Grafey's in the middle, the trainer.
Mm-hmm.
There's Tom Steggins, Bert McDonald, Pump McDonald, Arnold Schubert, Ron Schubert, Angus Wolford, Don Ample, Murph Grafey, Arnold Stringer, Don Mack, I think it is, Johnny Richter. Nearly half of them.
That's a good job. There you go. Well, I tell you what, where they are going to go, these photographs, is that they're going to have life in this film, and it's part of this purpose of this film is that it's actually a great collection of photographs.
I will eventually send them all down to the Kimber Museum.
Yeah.
Pack them all up, and whether I album them or just send them up, or. And
that's a good repository, but the public viewing place will be this film.
We just wanted, some, I don't know about some recognition, but it was just that to put through the history of the club, because it was, it was the very last grand final. We got defeated by Buckleboo. So that was...
But still the terrific year.
Oh, well,
and the players who, the big names that came from Waidaki.
Oh yes. Waidaki were pretty unlucky. Waidaki Dark Peak were pretty unlucky too.
We should have had at least 2, if not 3.
But you got a flag.
Oh yes, we got 1 flag too.
Which
right.
compared to no flags is enormously more flags.
Yes, yeah.
Which was pretty exciting.
Oh, it was beautiful.
That's it, Sons, hey, top bomb.
So you've had a chat?
Huh?
You've had a chat?
Yeah, we've pretty much finished talking about
Cool.
football.
Oh, good, eh?
What we really decided to do is talk about basketball.
I won't get any much help to you because
You know what blokes are like talking about netball.
Oh,
They
yeah.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wasn't no star. I just played because I liked it.
There's a bit intrigued with this black book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that one got in it?
Oh, that's the original minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Footy club. It was found at the rubbish dump. That's a piece of my history there. No, I'm just going to show you out of interest.
Mm-hmm. What have you got there?
That was my first trophy. So I was 12 years old. I won the Kimber club, Kimber footy club, that is. Best and first under 12.
Gary Enright, best player under 12,
Yeah.
Kimber Colts, 1951.
Yep.
Donated by Kelly Football Club.
Yep.
That was.
And that was. Then I went on to win the senior one. 2 years later.
So how old were you when you won the senior one?
1961, not 51.
Senior one.
Senior colt.
Yeah, 15.
Best senior colt. 1964.
Yeah, I was born in 49, so that makes me 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
I treasure them. I call them my male medals.
Yeah, they're gold, aren't they?
Yeah.
Great.
Old gold. Yeah.
No, they're great, aren't
So yeah, I started accumulating a few of the old ones.
they? Yeah, particularly the 51 night, the way that they've engraved it.
Yeah, okay. It did have a
Well,
medallion on here, but
obviously they changed the sort of tool that they used to do it with, because this looks like it's hand etched, and this here looks like it's done with a.
That's very
engraving
fine,
tool.
that, isn't it?
That's what I'm talking about. So
yeah.
this is what you find on the real old stuff going back like 200 years.
Yeah.
300 or even 500 or 1,000 years, you'll find that. Whereas this one here, you see, is modern, only a couple of years later.
Yeah. Yep.
So that one there is a particularly unique and beautiful one. That one.
Okay.
So you
Except he's lost it.
throw it away.
You got it? So how'd you do your hand?
No, I told you that was football.
Yeah, I know. That's all you told me. You, how did he do his hand?
The finger?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, came home from training one night and had this bent up finger, and so eventually went and got something done about it. And they sent him to a Whyalla, and they put it in like a metal splint, and that didn't work. So he ended up going up to the hospital here one day, because where he worked at the dry cleaners was getting hooked in everything, because it was bent up like that. And so he went up here, and they had a doctor here at the time. He said, "Oh, I think I can fix that." Oh, Gary said, "Oh, good." No.
Just grab that. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. And he was in outpatients, and the doctor just said, "Oh, actually, don't think I can fix it." Gary said, "Oh, well, what now?" And he said, "Well, we'll chop it off." He said, "We'll do it then." So he just went, and it fell in the bin.
Done.
And that was it. And he came home. What happened to your finger? It's still up there.
See, I got that part right, didn't I?
Yeah, but the trainer tried to pull it back in.
Yeah,
and
unfortunately.
that's what split the tendon across the nut. So yeah. In those days they would give it a go, and he yanked it, and it split the tendon, so it went one either side of the knuckle and was pulling it up. Yeah. So yeah. Another story was the broken nose.
So the doctor actually wanted...
better than your version.
Oh, it's the same, surely.
What did you say?
I said exactly the same thing, thank you.
He said it was a football injury.
Yeah, well...
It was.
It was at training.
That's all he said.
No, it wasn't training.
Oh, was your nose at training?
My broken noses were at training. Sorry to interrupt that, but it was at footy.
Yeah, footy, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Gary, what can you tell us about Maxine's basketball then? She win anything? She was right? She's not going to tell us.
I never went to netball because we was always playing football. She saw it after netball.
Yeah.
No.
Honestly. Well, Maxine played rep netball.
Huh?
Association.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I never got to see them, you see.
Well, she must have been able to play a bit.
Well, obviously, if she was in those sort of teams, she could play a bit, and she was in a very good... The girls she all played with were very good. And yeah, I don't know how many you would have won.
Oh, I couldn't tell you how many premierships.
Quite a few.
A lot.
Year after year after year.
But we always struggled against, like we played Buckleboo, Kelly and Wadiki back in those days, and we always struggled against Buckleboo. They had a really tall defender, and we're going to play Buckleboo this week, great. And we struggled against them, but we had a few wins as well. But one of Gary's cousins and myself, we were in the ring. We were the goalies. Pretty much my whole year, all my years of playing netball, I was goal to tackle, goal shooter. Yeah. And Marilyn was the other. Yeah. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun, but I don't know where this competitive spirit come from, but it wasn't me. I'd go and play and I loved it, but I never really wallowed if we lost, if you know what I mean.
Did you see Gary play football?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about Gary as a footballer.
Oh, most of the time, I'm a nervous watcher, so I've usually got my head in my hands. But he was pretty good as a footballer. Except for that one year when you kicked all those points. That one's so good.
Yeah, well, that goes there. That's history.
That was a grand final too. What was it? 1 goal?
1 goal 6 in the grand final, and we got beaten by 4 points.
No wonder you didn't mention that one.
No, I thought I did.
The other reason I didn't mention that one is because my brother was coaching. I don't think, and that was in 74, and I don't think he's spoken to me since.
Oh, that was not good.
No, that was, I had the yips that day, but yeah.
Was that the intervening year, maybe? Because there was 66, then you missed a year, and then 68.
No, I was 70, missed a year in 72. Yeah.
We got married in 1970, and we had to get married. Did he tell you that?
Oh, well,
Because he was coaching, and if they hadn't have won that final, we wouldn't have been able to get married the following week because we would have been in a preliminary final. Everything was booked and paid for, so it was a bit of a nervous wait to see if they win. They won, so we had our wedding, and then he had to be back in time for training, so we didn't go too far.
Where'd you go?
Lincoln.
In a roundabout way.
You were lucky to get a honeymoon.
Call it that, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was a bit of a drama.
Yeah, it was a bit of a drama, yeah.
But
it was
I laid it
fortunate.
pretty thick to the boys that that was the second semi. If they didn't win, there was no grand final and there was no wedding. So, and I stressed there'd be no wedding. And what do you mean? I said, well, we've ploughed this wedding on the grand final day. It's not going to happen. No. On preliminary final day, I mean. We had to win the second semi to go. Yeah.
We were fortunate.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, well, the boys sort of did that. Now that the phone, I'll get Derek to reach it just beyond that curtain there. I can't get through there.
Right, I will grab it for you.
Oh, right.
Both done really, really well.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
you.